What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to another episode of Math with Mr. G. Those of you that subscribed to the channel as soon as it came out, again, I do want to apologize for this extended absence. As I explained to you in class, there were some issues with my laptop that appear to have been fixed. So hopefully, in the near future, we won't be having this problem again. Um, Unfortunately, this is not the grandest of circumstances given what's going on. But again, hopefully, this channel is in one way, shape, or form some support so that you can continue your review at home. Depending on how many lessons we've covered since the last video that I posted, you might be seeing this intro repeatedly. If there's only been one lesson, you're only going to see this once. If there's been more, well, I'm just going to use the same in the interest of saving memory. So I don't want to apologize ahead of time for that. But without further ado, let's get to it. Eighth graders, the last section that we covered was solving equations with rational coefficients. It's a lot of words, it sounds quite fancy if I may say so myself, but let's try to simplify it as much as possible. Rational coefficient. You might recall from our previous section, rational simply means it's a number that can be written as a fraction. Coefficient, this might be the first time you hear it. I'm not going to write the textbook definition, but I will no less indicate what it is. Your textbook defines the coefficient as the integer factor that is standing in front of a variable. What exactly does that mean for us? In simplest terms, it's the number that is in front of your variable. It's not just standing there to look pretty. By definition, it is a factor, which means that it's multiplying. We will look at an example just momentarily. The coefficient is number in front of your variable, which is multiplying it. You might recall from some algebraic worksheets or lessons that we covered before, if you are solving an equation, you want to do the opposite in order to solve and isolate your variable. What exactly does that mean for us? Let's say, for example, you have 2x is equal to 10. In essence, this translates to 2 times a number is equal to 10. You might know the answer immediately out of the top of your head, but for our purposes, let's actually do the math. In this particular problem, our 2 is our coefficient, or it's our factor, and our x is our variable. It's what we are solving for. Recall, the coefficient is multiplying your x, so to solve, what you want to do is divide. Divide by 2 and divide by 2. These are going to cancel out, and you are left with x is equal to 10 divided by 2, which is equal to 5. In simplest of terms, in this lesson, all you're doing is dividing. However, during your homework and in the future for your exams, there are 4 different types of coefficients that you might encounter. 2 of them will be relatively similar, the other 2 not so much. Let's see what that means. You might get, for example, 3a is equal to 9, or 1.2b is equal to 2.4. Or you might get one half C is equal to 4. Or you might get 1 and 1/2 D is equal to 3 and 2/3. All four of these problems are going to require division. However, these two up here are going to be more simple in the sense that you could simply divide the number in front of your variable or your coefficient, and the number across from the equal sign you could simply divide by that. The two on the bottom, you are now working with fractions and mixed numbers. You might recall when you are dividing fractions, you are going to want to multiply by the inverse. But let's just go ahead and see what that looks like. Let's do the two on top first because they are more simple. Whenever you are working with an integer or a decimal, all you are doing is dividing the number across from your equal sign by the coefficient. You divide by 3, you divide by 3, and these two are going to cancel out, giving you final answer of A is equal to 9 divided by 3, or just 3. In the next problem, you have 1.2b, which is equal to 2.4. Again, it is a decimal, meaning you can divide right away. Input into your calculator, and if you do that, these two will cancel out, giving you an answer of b is equal to 2. If you ever want to check your work, all you have to do, multiply your answer by your coefficient, and you should obtain the same result that you had originally across from your equal sign. Now, with fractions, again, you are still dividing, but when you are dividing fractions, you want to multiply by the inverse, or simply flip your fraction, multiply by 2 over 1, multiply by 2 over 1. Hopefully this doesn't look too messy. This is going to cancel out, giving you C is equal to 2 over 1 times 4 over 1. Remember, whenever you have a whole number, it has an imaginary denominator of 1. And now that you have your fraction set to multiply, just multiply across. 2 times 4 is 8, 1 times 1 is 1, giving you a final answer of C is equal to 8 over 1, or just 8. This final problem is a mixed number, which will require a few more steps, but again, nothing that we haven't done before, so just follow along. Recall, to convert a mixed number into an improper fraction, you want to multiply your whole number in your denominator, and then add the numerator while maintaining your original denominator. Let's see what that looks like. You have 1 times 2 plus 1 all over 2, don't forget d, equals 3 times 3 plus 2 all over 3. Running a little low on space here, so let's try to write a little bit smaller, and hopefully it's still legible. If it's not, well, I'll go ahead and do another example after. 1 times 2 is just 2, plus 1 is 3, so you have 3 over 2 d is equal to 3 times 3 is 9, plus 2 is 11 over 3. If you want to solve, again, all you're doing is multiplying by the inverse, which I'll use a different color. Hopefully it makes things a little more legible. Let's use green. The opposite of the inverse of 3 over 2 is 2 over 3. This is going to cancel all that out. Multiply by 2 over 3. which will give you 11 times 2 is 22 over 9, which you can either leave like this or you can simplify into a mixed number, but due to limited space I'm not able to do that. But it would translate to 2 4/9. Essentially, this is all you are doing, but we'll do a few more examples just to make sure that it's understood. Seeing how I ran out of space, I'll try to space it out more evenly in this next set. Okay, let's say I have 4e is equal to 24. 2.4 g is equal to 2.4. One over 3 f is equal to 9, and 2 4/5 h is equal to 1 1/3. Hopefully it doesn't get too messy. I just came up with these numbers randomly out of my head, but let's see what that would look like. Again, the two on top are more simple. You have a whole number and you have the decimal as a coefficient, so you could simply divide. Divide by 4, divide by 4. These are going to cancel out, leaving you with e is equal to 24 divided by 4 is 6. Next, you have 2.4 times g is equal to 2.4. Simply divide. Again, these are going to cancel, leaving you with g is equal to 1. The next two, you have a fraction and a mixed number, which means you will be using the multiplicative inverse. The inverse of 1 over 3 is 3 over 1. And again, whole number, imaginary denominator 1, multiplied by 3 over 1. These are going to cancel out, leaving you with f is equal to 9 over 1 times 3 over 1, which simplifies to 27 over 1, or f is equal to 27. Final problem, you have a mixed number. 2 4/5 h equals 1 1/3. In the interest of space, I will not show the exact steps on how to get to an improper fraction, so just follow along. Again, 2 times 5 is 10, plus 4 will give you 14 over 5. H equals 1 times 3 is 3, plus 1 is 4, 4 over 3. Now, switching colors again, use the inverse. Inverse of 14 over 5 is 5 over 14. 5 over 14. These cancel out, giving you h is equal to 4 over 3 times 5 over 14. Actually, let's erase that and that. If you look closely, 4 and 14 can be cross-simplified. You divide both by 2. You have 2 over here and 7 over here. Again, whenever you find common factors in diagonals, you're able to cross-simplify. 2 over 7. 2 times 5 will give you 10. 3 times 7 would give you 21. This cannot be simplified. That is your final answer. Hopefully this video helps you out with your homework, with your studies, and again, if you have any questions, comments, or concerns, comments are disabled on my channel, and arguably for a very good reason. So if you do have anything you would like to add, anything that you would like me to clarify, please feel free to send me an email, and hopefully I'm able to continue posting more material. And again, any and all feedback is greatly appreciated. Hopefully, with everything that's going on, this provides some sort of comfort, some sort of support. The videos will continue coming. Thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you on the next one.